All right. Just trying to edit. Stream is called. I could have swore that was an option from OBS, but not doing it. So, all right, let's get started here. I just want to do a quick intro for Dojo 7. If you didn't know, the latest release for Dojo was, recently came out, probably the past couple of weeks or so, last week. There's some really cool stuff in here, so if we go and check out the blog for Dojo 7, there's a lot of really cool new features, things I'll be talking about in the future, like the widget updates, right? So that type of widget children, which is really cool. I've done this before. Well, this would have been really useful when I was doing some stuff to do GraphQL wrappers for Dojo widgets, and I had to wrap the children. So this really would have been something I could have used when I was doing that. That would have been pretty cool. Improvements for custom elements. This is one I'm a big fan of here, and I'll probably do a full stream on this. A lot of videos probably down the road on resources and adding data to widgets, these data-aware widgets and stuff. There's a blog post that's going to be coming up pretty soon on Dojo.io about this. You can check it out. Some test updates for the test renderer, and I'll actually cover some stuff about testing, because I think the built-in testing tools that Dojo has for apps and widgets is actually really, really nice. They did simplify some of the work with having to do with the routes and everything, which I really like a lot. Custom widget keys, haven't used that too much. I8N, so this is Dojo has a long history going back to the Dojo toolkit of having a very strong support for internationalization, I8N, and that continues with the modern Dojo framework. They've made some updates to make it smarter, I8N, right? This is something very useful that I don't think a lot of devs think of too much until they kind of have to, right? If you build anything that's used outside of your country's region that needs multiple languages, you need to worry about I8N support. Themes, I'm a big fan of themes. I think they're really cool. And some other improvements and things I want to talk about a bit. Excuse me. Okay, so let's go over some of the cool new stuff here. One was the fact that we had mentioned simplified routes, right? So the routes file looks the same, essentially. We've got an array. You just have the ID, the path that's going to go to, and to find what the outlet's going to be. And of course, you've got the default route you can define in here, which is pretty nice. But how's that used? All right, not this one. So in the app, we've got an outlet here for main, right? So it's the main outlet. And we're just going to pass in what those routes are going to be. We have the home route here, and we've got the about route here, and the profile route. You notice that they no longer have to take functions in the outlets here. You just pass an object, and it's going to have the keys to the route names, and then whatever it is you want to render for the route name. This is much simpler, much easier to do. If you're going to be passing parameters or something in URLs, you still have the option to use a function here, and then you can pass in the matcher, find the parameter that's going to match for what you want to do, extract it out, and pass it to the whatever widget you're going to display in the route. I think that's really nice. I think it's a really cool feature built into the routing for Dojo. The if you haven't seen before, so this is part of the middleware, right? So something like the theme here, which is really cool. So we have a theme middleware you can bring in, and then what you do is that if you don't have a theme, you can set a theme, right? And we're just going to use the default Dojo theme, which gives me the nice tabs and everything going here from the menu I'm using and my about page and all that, which is really nice. Let's see here. So this is all pretty basic. A lot of this is going to look more of the same, right? The very simple small widgets in here. It could get a little bit more complex depending on what you want to do. So now we've got some links on the widgets, right? We got a header up here. We've got different links to go to different routes. And if you've worked with any kind of routing library and other frameworks before, this is probably going to look very familiar to you in that case. The profile widget does a little bit more. It takes a property with a username. It's going to display that username. So if I go into the app over here, and I decide to change the username, all right, so now automatically updates. That's pretty standard. That's something that the Dojo CLI and everything's done before. So if we go ahead and go and quit this real quick, I did want to show something that's really kind of neat here that you can do with the build tools, right? So if we go to the Dojo Rc file, this is where you can configure all of the different pieces of configuration for your application, whether it's for testing or builds or the widgets. Mostly, you're probably going to end up doing it on the build app. If you're in the an application using Dojo, this is probably where you're going to do most of your work. All right, so in the build app, we're going to add a key for the build time render, not renderer, just build time render. That's right. And in the build time render, we need to make some updates to the application here. We're gonna have a route, right? So where should the build time render engine look with DOM element? And this could be the ID. So I'm gonna have an ID called route. The build time render renderer is going to be just DOM. And this is a really cool feature. So this application does have routing. I don't know what's going to happen when I do this. So we're going to do static true. Yeah, it does have to be a string. Just like that. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and see if I can remember exactly how to do this here. So we want an element here. Just put a div. And this div is going to have an ID equal to root. Okay, so we got that in there. But now we need to go ahead and update I think it's main CSX, and I'm just going to double check off screen over here. I always forget this one little bit. Yeah, okay. All right. I got this. We got this. No big deal, people. So we're going to create this DOM node is going to be equal to document.get element by ID, and the element name is root. All right. And then what we can do is when we go ahead and mount it, which we're going to do here, let's go ahead and mount the DOM node in there. All right, awesome. So now what we want to do, this is make sure I remember the name for, I'm pretty sure it's just npm run build at this point. Yeah, npm run build. Boom. Let's run that. I know I did not install HTTP server for this. Okay, so the build's done. That's fast. I've got a brand new computer, so my builds are much faster these days. So, oh, and I didn't get to show this at the beginning because this hasn't really changed from the previous versions of Dojo, but just to show it anyway. If you want to install the CLI, you install it globally with npm install-g at dojo/cli at dojo/cli-create-app. And then if you also want, you can install the at dojos/cli-create-widget, which is going to let you create a widget library, which is something I'll probably cover in another video because, well, I definitely will cover in another video because I've talked about building a Dojo widget before, especially on this channel, but they've made it easier, much easier now to build those widgets. So let me install my this HTTP server, right? What's it's called? Yeah, that's what it is. Okay, so I want to go into the output and this. Yeah, this is it. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and what I want to do? P server. All right, it's not 480. Let's come over here. See, I think because I've got the routing, I can't go fully not without JavaScript. Yeah, see, it broke it because I made it static. And when you do it static, that means that there's no JavaScript being loaded to the page. So the routing won't work in this case. I think if I took out the hash routing, it would work. But yeah, not in this case. Plus I need to pass the property to this as well. So that part won't work. But this does work with the Learn Dojo site. So if we look at, let's see here. So if we look at the GitHub for the Learn Dojo site, you'll see that we are doing the build time renderer with the root and the static true. And if we look at learndojo.com, and we look at the network traffic. All right, so we're looking at all network traffic. Bam, bam, bam. Lots of stuff popping up there. All right. But you'll notice the only JavaScript we have here is because I'm using Cloudflare. So that's my Cloudflare JavaScript file and Google Analytics. And that is the only JavaScript being loaded. There's no JavaScript even for the lazy loading of images. I think if I go real fast, we'll get stuff. Yeah. So no JavaScript at all. If I open one of these, let's go through one of these early ones here. No JavaScript at all. And this is for the blog. Completely static, 100%. I think the only time that there would be any JavaScript on here is when I am embedding Code Sandbox. So yeah, see all that Code Sandbox code is popping up in here, but that's only because I've got a sandbox embed down here somewhere. Yeah, right there. That is showing all of that, right? That's a nice IHTM post I did a while ago, which is really cool. And yeah, that's just a quick intro for Dojo 7, just so you can get an appetite for what it's doing. Right. The like I said, there's a lot of really cool new features in here. Everything they talk about in the blog post I really want to get into talking about the resources and data aware widgets, uh, building your own widget libraries, right? And not just the widget libraries, but also using Dojo Parade to show off the widgets. So to give you an idea what that looks like, is that created this page for the Dojo widgets. Parade is a way that you can build automatically build documentation for your widgets based off of the TypeScript parameters you provide, extra documentation you provide. It's all in there. So if I go to something like a button, right? So it gives you an example what the button's going to look like, and this is like a little example that you set up inside of your widget library to do this. Tells you if there's any accessibility features, which hopefully, if you're distributing a library, you do have some, right? Something, get a bit in there. And what the features are for the actual widget, as well as with all the different properties that are provided and themes that it's going to support. Things that can be themable on your widget are going to be described in the Dojo Parade. And again, like I said, this is all automatically generated for you, which is really, really cool. So that's it. I just want to give you a quick Dojo intro for version 7. There's a whole lot more to come in the coming weeks, and I don't know what their current timeline is for releasing Dojo 8. I believe between Dojo 6 and 7 was quite a while, but there was an awful lot of work happening on Dojo 7 from when 6 was released, but I believe between 5 and 6 was a pretty short time span. So I don't know what the time span between 7 and 8 will be, but once they get the momentum going and they get some work under their hands to get it done, things should be moving pretty fast. But yeah, I'm looking forward to all the big changes and everything coming. And Dojo 7 is a great release, and I think it is something that devs are really going to like quite a bit. Awesome. Cool. See y'all later.